but that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. here.
That's why you don't see me.
Okay.
All right. Looks like it's going to work. I'll let you know if it doesn't, so I'll make you host again.
Okay, where are we streaming to?
We're on the GSU Live, which pushes it to Facebook and YouTube, as far as I know, as well. They've updated where it doesn't start until right on the hour, which is great, but it's hard for me to know if it's worked correctly.
Okay.
Until right on the hour. So if I need to
just
get hosts back from you or something, I'll let you know.
Okay, so does the streaming only start exactly on the hour?
Yeah, it's on the GSU TV. It's refreshed on the hour or half hour when classes are scheduled.
Okay.
The Facebook used to always just be as soon as you pushed it.
Yeah.
So I could tell it was working, but I can't tell now.
Okay.
So just in case I need it back. And I don't know when you normally start recording, but I will remind you of that before I'm off.
I'll start now because it's a minute. Let's do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may bounce off when I give you back host, but I'll keep an eye on it for you. And
Okay.
then Kim can also do that as well.
Right.
But
I must still make Kim a co-host. Yeah.
oh, I can do that. Well, oh yeah, you can't. You're host. That's right. I gave it back.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. There you are, Kim, you co-host.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And we are good in live, so.
Okay.
I'm not sponsored or anything, just the people ask me who makes the torch. So it's made by Phoenix, and because it was so expensive for the members on my channel.
Hello.
So thank you, Mike. The torch is working really well. Anyway, a load of
I'm going to give iPad, you'd have to do some. Okay. Okay, there we are. Okay. Hello, Jackie.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Laura, nice
Thank
to
you.
see you. Hello. And Philly, you're there too. Hello, welcome.
Hi. Hi.
Okay. Okay. And Jackie, yeah, we've seen you before. And Laura, I've seen you before. Yeah, it's nice. Philly, I don't know.
I'm getting to be a regular.
Yeah, I know you are. That's marvelous. That's absolutely marvelous. So, Laura, what brings you to a basic Zoom class, an introduction to Zoom class?
Well, I still don't feel totally comfortable with everything on Zoom, and especially screen sharing is one of the things that still, I haven't done it on my own, but I thought I'd get some more information on it, and hopefully when I'm finished with this, monkey around with it myself.
Okay, that will be great. I suggest also, Laura, tomorrow I host a more advanced Zoom class, about 3 hours from tonight, a little bit later in the evening for you.
Okay, tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. It's called Zoom Tips and Tricks. And there we go into the advanced and quite a lot with screen sharing. Different options.
I will see you tomorrow then.
But
I'm going to stay in today.
That's great. No, that's great. Ask the questions because we can answer them, you know. But it is a basic class, this one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Jackie, so what brings you here?
Well, I played with it a little bit, but there's some parts of it that I don't quite know how to, it's not sticking with my brain, so I need to do it again. The more I do it, the more I learn it, I feel like. So I've taken it once before. I think it was under somebody else's beginner's class, but I want to stay in the beginner's class because I want to get the full impact of it before I go out further.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, that's great. You get the basics, you know. So if there's something in the basics that you're not familiar with, then that will come through today. But the more advanced tips and tricks are coming tomorrow.
Okay. Michael, one other thing. I invited my brother to join us today and he hasn't yet. So maybe he will come in.
Okay, let me know when he comes in. All right.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. So hello to Sherry. Hey, welcome.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, thanks, Sherry. So what brings you here today?
Just trying to learn Zoom. It's just I use it with a lot of different things that I do. Mainly, I'm sent the link to get in, and it's real simple. But I'm trying to do it from the other way, and I'm stuck.
Okay.
I do a lot of advocacy work for brain injury, and there's a lot of meetings with Zoom, and there's a lot of presentations, and I'm just not catching on.
Okay. Well, the basic introductory class is the right place to start, and then build out to more advanced classes from there. So, hello, Phyllis.
Hi.
How are you, and what brings you here?
I just want to learn.
Okay. Do you use Zoom?
A little bit.
Little bit. Okay. All right. I know there were 15 booked into the class, and there's only less than half of that here at the moment. So the others might come in a bit later. But I'd like to introduce you to our TA support, which is Kim, and she's here, as you know, because we have TA support now in nearly all of our classes across Get Set Up, and they're here to co-host, to help, and if you have problems with any technical issues, they're here to help. And if you want to get a message to me because I can't see your hand up or whatever, then she's there to help. You can just message her. You can either message her in the chat publicly, or you can do it privately. If you click the little down menu in the chat page, you'll see her name come up in the chat page. And but while our numbers are small, you can leave your microphones off, and you can ask questions as we go along, and I will answer them. So welcome, Kim, to our class. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
There we are. Okay. We also have Sharon. Hey, Sharon, but I don't think you're going to stay for long, are you?
No. Getting ready to head out. Just make sure everything started out good. But I did send a message to Laura about the link for the class tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and put it in the chat for everybody.
Wow. Okay, Sharon, that's great. That's service, hey, Laura.
Yes, thank you.
There you go for everybody. All right, you guys have a great class.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
What Sharon's been doing is been linking us to the Get Set Up streaming, which streams on the website. And then this morning, it's also going to stream on to Facebook as well. So there'll be live streaming there as well. So we've got Bert. Bert, are you there? Hello.
I'm there.
Good.
Here.
Well,
I'm here.
That's great. And what brings you here, Bert?
A lot of people are using Zoom. I've used it a couple of times, whatever. I just want to get a better basic understanding of Zoom. My husband uses it for his job. And so my daughter uses, what's the other one? It's Teams. She uses Teams. Yeah. And so just get a better understanding of Zoom and how to operate it a little more efficiently for me.
Okay. Right. What we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen, which I've done already, but we're going to, because it's a basic class, I prefer working with slides so that one gets moves at a pace, and things are very simplistic and clear, hopefully. Okay. But we can also jump back and go live. So, well, welcome to all of you to this class. And for those who don't know, my name is Michael Plumstead, as you can see on the screen. And I live in Perth in Western Australia. And we are 2 hours behind Eastern Australia. So it's just gone 7 a.m. in the morning here. So my background is a researcher, author, but most particularly a business mentor, and specializing in franchising particularly, but across the board. Hobbies: enjoy gardening and writing and growing microgreens. I run a microgreen class for Get Set Up as well. And I really
Try that.
You must really try that. All right. I'm not sure when it is next. In fact, you know, they've got something new that I started in the last day or two, Get Set Up did. And that is, if you go to classes and then in the search, just search my name, then all my classes will now come up. It never used to do that last week, but now it does. So go to classes and put in the name, and you'll be able to see when the next class is of whatever class I'm doing. But microgreens is one of them, and you'll be able to see when that is coming. Okay. So just as an introduction to Get Set Up, I know most of you now are old hands at Get Set Up, but there are 1 or 2 people here that are new to me, so I'm not sure how many classes you have. But Get Set Up has been created so that we can learn from each other, okay? I mean, this class isn't necessarily a one-way from me to you. You know, you must also participate and share what you know, share what you've experienced, maybe even answer questions from other people in the class, okay? And it's ideal if you keep your cameras on, because then it's a fun two-way interaction. And don't forget that Get Set Up is not being paid to promote anything. Okay, and you get your classes for free. They don't get any money from promoting various aspects or various products that I may mention or get mentioned in the class. Okay, so this is the basic agenda that you see in front of you now. You know, we'll start with you receive a link and what you do with that link and the basics in a basics class. Okay, so you can have a look through that, and you can see that although we'll touch on virtual backgrounds, it's a very complex issue because people have different types of devices and different age of devices, and some devices do not take a background. So so that's where we find ourselves now. So the first thing that happens if you're going to join a meeting, you get an invitation. And the invitation will have words on it that are relevant to that particular meeting that you've been invited to. And it's something that Zoom creates automatically when it comes to the link. Okay, so you'll see down here where the arrow is pointing, there is a URL. There's a link to a website, and that's to the host's personal room. So whoever's hosting this meeting, and if you're going to host meetings in the future, you have your own unique room, your own unique ID. Okay, and when a link is sent, it is built into the URL. Now I want to show you that. Now you see below the URL, there's a meeting ID. That is your unique room, whatever your number happens to be. And here you can see it's built in 7248. You can see that there it is built in. So immediately people can possibly come straight into your room or come straight into a waiting room. And we'll talk about that in a minute. If you do have a password with your Zoom, then the password is coded and put in at the end here. But you can see here, right at the bottom of the screen, the passcode is very short, but the coding here and the URL is very long. But it's to keep your password secret in URLs that go out to the public or to various individuals in the public. So this is how you have been possibly in the past joining a meeting, but I wanted you to understand this URL because I'm going to talk about it when you start sending out invitations in a moment, okay? So you click on that URL and inevitably you will come to a screen that looks like this. Join a meeting, sign in. Both of them will take you to the meeting. Sign in might be a requirement by the host, okay, because they perhaps don't want somebody jumping in from that wasn't invited, possibly. So signing in means you're just going to put your email in, and then you are identified uniquely through your email, okay? And then it'll bring you back to the screen where you will join a meeting. Otherwise, you just go straight in without signing in. Join a meeting, you've got the URL, you've arrived here, now you're going to join the meeting, okay? And that could take you, again, depending on the host, if they've made a setting for a waiting room. It's your choice as a host. Do you get everybody gathered in a waiting room until the hour that the meeting starts, or the moment that the meeting starts? And if you do put a setting in, then while you're waiting, because you might arrive a few minutes before, even longer, you can now use this time to test your audio. It'll tell you you're in a waiting room, and you'll see here at the bottom of that is test your audio. All you've got to do is click on that, and it takes you to the screen. Okay, and on the left, there will be other settings that you can click on, but I didn't want to show you that to complicate the issue. Yes, so I'm just showing you this is where you test, and that is you click test mic, and you can now talk, sing a song, count, and you'll find the input will jump up and down in the input level. And if it goes too much to the right, it's a bit too loud. If it just tapers there in the left, it's too soft. But what Zoom does, it says, let me do it automatically for you. So you can click that particular icon underneath there, that particular box, automatically adjust volume. Okay, and then Zoom will decide what is good for the people who have to listen to your microphone. Okay, so because you don't, of course, you're only talking to your microphone, so you can't actually hear yourself. And then below that, where you are listening to other people, you click test speaker, and Zoom will play some sounds to see where the output level is on this line again. Okay, and here you can, and you should manually then adjust your volume to suit your hearing. Okay, it's got nothing to do with anybody else listening. This is about your speaker so that you can hear.
Michael,
Yes.
I have never seen this before. I mean, on my own screen when I've logged in many times. Is it unique to your computer?
No. Remember, the room has to be set. The waiting room has to be clicked by the host that you do go into a waiting room. Okay.
Correct.
And I will show you during the class, or there's another place inside the room where you can check, but no, it's for everybody. I'm not sure why
I've never seen it, and I've been in a lot of rooms.
Okay, that's interesting. And what device do you receive? Have you been using?
I'm on a notepad, Apple, an iPad.
Okay. It could be, yeah, I'm using, and I always use for Zoom a PC. Okay. So it might have something to do with that.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah. I'll check up before tomorrow's advanced meeting. And if you jump in there, I'll have an answer for you. Okay.
Yes, I will be there.
Okay. That's great, Laura. All right. Any other questions? All right. So we are now in the point where you've gone into a waiting room, or you haven't. It doesn't make a difference. Sometimes the URL will bring you straight in if there's no waiting room, and you now join the meeting. Okay, and you would join that one. Through that blue, you only join meetings, somebody else's meeting. Somebody else is hosting that. Okay. And then I just want to, while we're on this screen, which is the app which you download, which you need when you're hosting, although you can host from the clouds, Zoom will download an app and you can do all your preparation here and send you invitations even, but you can also do it from the cloud. On the right of the screen is a little gear, and that is your settings. I just wanted to know there. We're not going to go into great detail in settings now. We will tomorrow, but in the introduction, your settings default to what a beginner would normally want. Okay, so Zoom will default those settings and you won't have to worry about them. So if you click join a meeting and you don't have a URL, it'll take you straight into the room. Remember, I showed you in the invitation, there was an ID, a room ID, and you put that room ID in here. And if there were a password, you would put it underneath. Otherwise, you just type your name in and you click join. Okay. So those are two ways of joining a meeting. If you have regular meetings, I have a regular meeting twice a week with an individual from the East, and he just enters himself and he waits for me to open the meeting. Okay, so he's there waiting for me when I arrive, and he just puts in the ID and in he comes. So that's another way of entering if you've got the ID, or if you've got sort of a casual relationship and you're going to meet with somebody sort of ad hoc and they've got your details, then they would enter them here and they won't need a URL invitation from you. Okay, then I want to show you, maybe we just go back this here, the schedule on the left, the dark blue, number 19 on it, schedule. If you click on that, and you can do this from within your room also, but here is where you schedule a meeting for a future time. Whether it is just a couple of hours away, a couple of days, or a couple of weeks, you would come in and schedule a meeting. You are going to be the host now, okay? And so you are going to schedule this meeting. So to start the ball rolling, you put in the topic of the meeting, depending, whether it's a regular Bible study or whether it's a book club meeting or whether it's, a meeting with the principal of some institution. You would make it clear or logical. You see there it says Michael Plumstead Zoom meeting. That's not a clever name at all, okay? Because, what does he want to meet with me for? Okay, what do I do? But, if it were, my business class or a scheduled meeting to talk about microgreens or, about Pinterest, which is another class I do, then I would put that in And so people are very clear on what it is. Underneath that, the date, you click on the little drop down arrow, and all you have to do is click on the date. Okay, a calendar drops down month by month, and you click on the actual day that the meeting's coming, and to the right of that, another drop down arrow, you click on the time that you intend to start the meeting. Okay. Now, the duration of the meeting is actually a little bit irrelevant, but sometimes people may need to know if it's going to be a class. Because on the free version of Zoom, and you've got more than one person attending your meeting, okay, you are limited to 40 minutes. And Zoom will tell you just prior to the 40 minutes is your time is running out, okay? And you need to bring the meeting to a close. And, but if there's only one person in your class, then you can talk forever, okay? Well, literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, somebody wanted to ask something there or just exclaiming? Okay.
That was me just exclaiming. I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. If it's only one person, it's unlimited time.
Yeah, yeah. So that becomes handy. There are ways around it, and one way around it would be it brings your class to an end. So you tell everybody, come in again immediately. We'll start the class again, and with the same link they can go in again. But I'm not sure if Zoom is not getting wise to that now. But anyway, up to certainly last week, you could do that. Then underneath the time would be, if it's a recurring meeting, if you click that, it will ask various information about when it is going to be recurring and how often and so on. So you would follow just what it asks you to fill in there. Most importantly is put in on the right of the screen here, your time zone. Click down on the little drop down arrow there and put your time zone in, because obviously people are in different time zones, and hopefully their calendar that they use will interpret your time zone into their time zone. Okay. You know, if you like, Google Calendar would do that. All right, so then if you're hosting for the first time or you're a beginner, the meeting ID defaults to your personal. You can't change it on the free version anyway. And then underneath that, the security. If you do have a password, there you see there's the waiting room. If you click that, there will be a waiting room. And if you click the bottom one, people would have to sign in. Remember at the beginning, I showed you a screen that says join or sign in. And now they would have to sign in. Okay. And that's a form of security to make sure that somebody who got the link that shouldn't have got the link and you don't want in the meeting has to actually sign in. So there's a certain security there. But only when you get to that stage of having issues with privacy, then you would use it. Otherwise, leave it all to just default to not ticking. Okay. Also, there's a default setting for the free version. You know, the host can the video, and you can decide whether you want participants to have a video on and off. Okay, but it defaults to on. Okay, and same with the audio, defaults to telephone and computer. Okay, and then you choose which Google you use as host. Okay, and underneath that, there's an advanced setting, which again, Zoom will default to what you want as a beginner, as a learner in Zoom. And so you can come here and you can change it if you're starting to get familiar with Zoom. And like that. Let somebody join before you even start the meeting. Like I mentioned, my friend from Eastern Australia, he's often just waiting in my room when I arrive. Okay, and that's fine. Why put him in a waiting room? He can just wait there, and he can see as soon as I start the meeting. And you can read the others. They're logical if you want to use them. But that's an advanced setting option. Again, my recommendation is just let them be, okay, in the beginning. All right, so now we have covered join the meeting when somebody else is hosting, and you've joined in various ways. You've scheduled a meeting. Now you're going to be the host for some time in the future. Okay, now you are going to host a meeting. Now, whenever you see new meeting, that is you hosting a meeting, nothing more than that. It's not a new meeting that somebody else has created. And new meeting means it's your new meeting. You are starting a meeting. And so you click on that, and it takes you into your room. Okay, your personal Zoom room. This is your space, okay, that you invite people into, and you can now talk to them or have a meeting of some description. And I like to share that when you go into a room on the top right-hand corner, and you will not see it now, so don't look, you have what I call a host's view. So this is either working with a full screen or with a reduced size screen. And if you're working on a computer or a laptop, I strongly recommend that you reduce your screen, okay? And because you want to, I'll show you in a moment, you want to open up the participants page, and you want to open up a chat page next to it. And if you've reduced it, those two aspects will lock onto your screen, and then you'll be able to see them. So you click that. But now, as the attendee, you get something similar to this, depending on what device you are using at this moment. Okay. But if you look to the top right, you would get something that looks like that. Okay. It says view. And with a little grid next to it. Okay, and you click on that, and you can now, while you're even listening to me, and you've got various options. But a gallery, you're going to see everybody's who's in class and their video, and if there are a lot of people in class, it'll take up quite a lot of your screen, but it's one way to go. If you click on speaker, then only the person who is speaking will come up on your screen. So I'm speaking now, you would see me if you had speaker view. And, if Jackie was speaking, then you would see Jackie's square come up. And so that is worthwhile knowing, particularly as a host, okay? And all right, so what I want well, let's first just say that when, as a host, you want to end a meeting, you click on end, okay? But I want to show you this on the middle here with the arrows down. And I want you to look at it now. The bottom of your screen, you've got a reactions word, the word reactions there. And this gives you the opportunity, the etiquette usually in a large meeting. Yeah, that's it, Laura. Okay, you can use them now, practice, play around with them now. It's fun, click and see what happens. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Phyllis, that's great. Okay, so you need to be using these aspects, and a host may say, "Can you hear me?" Okay, or can you see my screen like I did earlier? Then you would just give a thumbs up. Okay, and that's it. Okay, if you want to ask a question, you would raise your hand, and next to your name, a hand will be raised. Okay, and if let's say the host doesn't have the participant drop down, which often I don't, depending how I'm sharing my screen, then a hand will come up next to my management controls, which are floating around my screen. But more about that in the advanced class. So this you must use, okay, in any meeting, okay. Particularly if you're not the host, you then want people to interact. And these little fellows here in the middle here, again, host might ask a question and a tick means yes, okay, you're right, or no, and then these two icons here is like Laura said, saying there, that would be telling me to speak faster, okay, and that one will be telling me to speak slower as the host, okay. So I'm sure you were only playing around, Laura.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, I should say that.
No, that's fine. But it's a good example for the whole class, you see. So yeah. So use those. It's just part of Zoom, and it really works pretty well. And so if you click on participants, you get a list of participants. Okay. And I did this the other day, and it looks like Jackie's been in both classes. Sorry, Jackie. It might not be you though, but it looks like it. It probably is, yeah. Yeah. So I used to have this slide without any names in it, and it seemed weird. So last week, I think it was, or the week before, I took the slide, and so I could put some names in it. So when you click on participants, you get a list of participants that are already in class, that are there, okay? And you can see whether they have the video on or the video off, okay? And the same with the microphone. A line through it means it's off, okay? And if you click now on chat, remember, I recommended you have a reduced screen, okay? So now the participants, and now you click on chat, and the two lock together, the chat at the bottom and the participants at the top. And you can change the length of the screen. Let's say you have 20 participants, you can now pull that screen all the way down and to see all 20 of them. Okay, and often you don't know that, and you land up with just seeing a handful. And but there's it comes in handy. It always tells you at the top of the screen how many participants there are in the class, including yourself. Okay, so it's participants, everybody in the class, and it will include your co-host, your TA as well. So the participants up there. So that is a worthwhile to know, because if you do not have a reduced screen, what happens is they still come up. They come up as two independent floating menus on your screen if you have a full screen. And so you've got to move them around, to get them out of the way to read what's on the slide and so forth. Okay. The attendees do not see them. They do not get in the way of the attendees, but they do get in your way as a host. Okay. Then mostly only the hosts, but you might see a record button now, but you will not be able to record because Get Set Up has stopped anybody. It's a setting, okay? And we go through settings in a more advanced class. So you, as a host, you click on record, and it says, if you have the free version, you would then record to your computer probably, okay, automatically. And but if you have one of the paid versions, you can record to the cloud as well. And but if you press record now, you will see that you won't be able to record. Okay, you'd have to get permission, I think Zoom says, to record. Okay, so at this point, are there any questions of what we've covered so far? You can just unmute your microphone if you want to ask. And the way to unmute, now we've come to microphone, as you know, you can unmute it, you know, on your screen. You've got a mute button that you see. It looks like this when it's not unmuted, and when it's muted, and then you click on it, and then it looks like this without a line through it. And you can now talk. Another way to do it is to hold your space bar down on your device while you are talking. That immediately unmutes you. Okay, you can try it now if you like. Just experiment. Just hold your space bar down, and you can talk, and it works well. And then when you release the space bar, it again mutes you. Okay. So that's a much quicker way of doing it, because you can just be sitting with your fingers on the space bar. So yeah, and the same thing, well, no, I take that back, not the same thing, but with the video, you can put a video on, put a video off on your screen. Now, there are some devices, there was somebody in class that told me, it certainly doesn't work on my computer that way, is that your space bar then also takes your video off and on. So maybe we experiment with that now and let me know if that's working for you or not, or whether that was just a coincidence.
The space bar doesn't take my mic off either.
It should. If you hold the space, no, you must hold it down. Eh? Remember, you must hold your space
down,
bar.
yes.
Yeah, hold your space bar down, and your mic will stay. You can speak all the time until you lift your fingers again.
Yes.
But and I assume it's not working with your video like that. Eh? So anyway, that's. Then we move now to inviting people. Now, remember, we did at the beginning of the class, we did scheduled a meeting for some advanced date. And here you can invite people immediately. Okay, they could be expecting it. You know, you could open your meeting maybe 15 minutes early, and you're going to send out some invitations for 15 minutes time. Come now, or come right now. My meeting's open, or whatever. You would click the plus sign, or if you've got the word invite, you would click that, and you then get taken to a screen like this. Now, you will find that you can also get to the screen. If you look under participants, you will see that there is an invite button at the bottom of participants as well. Again, you can invite people from here, and you can allow attendees to invite people as well. Okay, so and you could perhaps carry on with the class, and it's free to invite your friend, or you know, maybe your son, okay, to join. And has he joined, Laura?
No, he hasn't, and he's going to get a call from me when I get off.
You're going to play the mama role.
Actually, no, it was not my son. It's my brother, my big brother.
Okay.
Who his children like him to use Zoom, so I told him about this site, and we'll be talking again, though. I know I'll get him to join us.
Okay. All right. So now you've clicked the invite button. either here and under participants or in your room, you've clicked on invite or the plus sign. And invitations are first and foremost can be sent by email. Okay, so you would then click on email. I wouldn't click on contacts because those are just the contacts that have been coming to your meetings that are recorded there historically. But not all your contacts will be there. So you go to email and click on email, and Zoom automatically puts together an invitation for this particular meeting that you're now in. Okay, and this is not a scheduled one for the future. This is now. Come and join now, or whenever you finally say that they can join. And it then defaults to an ordinary email on your whichever email you have chosen to use. You can use Gmail or Yahoo, or you can just allow it to default to what Windows uses. And you then have your contacts now because you're now ready to send emails out as you would normally under any conditions. So now you can add the contacts, and if you want to add anything extra to the invitation that Zoom has put together, that's up to you. But you can, all right? And
Michael.
Yes.
I got a question. I did something the other day. I was playing with it, and I was trying to doing stuff. So I copied and pasted on another paper sent to her email. Is that wrong or right?
No, that's all right. That's all
Okay.
right. Yeah. And what you would do, okay, so now you sent the email. Let's just talk about that now, Jackie. At the bottom of the screen, you can now have an option of copying the invitation. That's the full invitation that Zoom has put together. You can copy it. It goes to your clipboard, and you can now paste it in an ordinary email. You can paste it wherever you can paste something. You can paste it in a WhatsApp or some sort of other Telegram type communication.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's you brought me to that. So that was good. But next to that on the left is copy invite link. Now, all that copies is the URL link, okay, without any password attached to it. It just takes you straight to the room. Now, if you have a password, okay, that a person still won't be able to get in. Okay, they'll get to the waiting room, but they can't get in because they don't have the password. So remember, if you're going to just invite, copy the link to your clipboard, you must include whatever your password is as well, that people get in. Okay. Otherwise, you can also, if they know the password and you've just sent them the link to say, come on, meeting starting, then that's fine. Then they would click on that and know the password, especially if you've got something as easy as that. All right. So that is how you would invite people. Remember, at the beginning of the class, I showed you that link. Okay, that is what's going to happen. You're going to have something, the topic that you put in, and you're going to say the meeting is now, it started. Okay, all right. So now maybe I should just ask, are there any questions about inviting people?
Not a question, Michael, but I just wanted to add that in the first example that you gave us, it's inviting people for a future time. And now what we're talking about, or I think what we're talking about, is you can also get into a meeting and then invite people when you're there. And I use that system because there's a couple of ladies that get together every couple of weeks at the same time and every 2 weeks. And what I do is 2 days before, I say, remember, Thursday, 10:30, we're on for our meeting. And then I will be on Thursday at 10:29 and send you the invite, because then I'm in the room already and I'm going to send you that invite. All you do is press on it and join me. The reason I like to do that is if I send that invite 3 days before or 2 days before, it gets lost in their email. And so we've decided this works well.
It really does work well. I do the same. And, you know, I might message somebody on Telegram or WhatsApp and say, hey, you available for a meeting now? And they would say, yes. I'd say, okay, now they know. I'll go to Zoom, and then I open the meeting, send them the link, or they already know my room number, okay, and they just come in. So, I do that on a weekly basis. So it's very, that's why you would do it in the room. And that's why I show it. You very seldom, unless it's more formal, schedule in advance. Okay. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, Laura. Okay. All right, so now we want to share a screen. So you would click on the little green button and says share screen. Now, what happens there? It takes you to your desktop. Now, what you see on the screen now is my desktop. And whatever is open or minimized even on your desktop will show up here, okay? You can see that, you know, if you've got a PowerPoint open, there it is. You can see PowerPoint, and you've got any menus open, and, you know, if you've got, whatever's open, okay, your browser, you've got a Google Chrome open, you know, there it is. And any documents open, they'll be here. So whatever you want to share, it's good to have it. It's easier. It's not essential. But for basics, for beginning, it's best to open your whatever you want to share, your pictures you want to share or your presentation, and then just minimize it on your desktop. And then all you have to do would be like here, if you want to share your whole desktop, you click on it and you're now sharing your whole desktop. Big blue frame comes around it, and you come down to the bottom right-hand side and you click share. And now you are sharing, and the sharing takes up most of your screen, okay?
Michael, what is my desktop?
Okay. Yeah, it is, it's what's showing up on your computer screen when you open your computer.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's a mess.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're going to be doing, there are other ways. There are other ways to share, and I cover the different ways tomorrow in the more advanced. Okay. Let's talk about, you can share just one document, okay? And only that document would come up. Nothing else. But you share whatever your whole screen, then you share in your whole screen. So you've just got to be aware of that. You wouldn't do it often, the whole screen. You would rather share just your
right, something special.
Yeah. Okay, so to stop sharing, okay, you see this your management toolbar floats around your screen or minimizes itself, and you can move it to wherever you want to. During the attendees cannot see it, okay? So you can move it around, but when you want to stop sharing, you click on stop share, okay? That's all you do, the big red there, and you can then stop sharing, and you do. Okay, then the virtual background, okay? All I wanted to do here was to show you where it is. If you go to your start video, on the right of that, there's a little up arrow. And if you click on that up arrow, this screen that you see above here will come up, and you will see there, choose virtual background, okay? And Now, I go into a little bit more detail again tomorrow because, as I mentioned at the start of the class, when we were looking at the agenda, I was saying that it's not as easy as just clicking and you've got a virtual background, okay? Your computer or your device might not even allow a background, okay? Or it might be not strong enough to hold a background. And you might require a green screen behind you and so forth. So there are other issues. And the best way to find out is just to try it, click it and try. And then Zoom has some default backgrounds. And you would then just use those default backgrounds. But it's not something that is necessarily going to be easy. Like if you've got a modern laptop, or new, shall I say, recently bought, then it's probably strong enough, and your desktop is strong enough to just hold a background without a green screen. And then the other aspect is the security, and only the host will see this sign, security. You won't see it now unless you're watching also on another device or have the another device handy. But as a host, you would have that security, and you've got various options when you click on that. And you can, for example, lock a meeting. So at any point, you can lock a meeting to stop people coming in for whatever reason, okay? Again, you can enable a waiting room. So, you know, you've come in, you're starting your own meeting, you're getting prepared maybe 10 or 15 minutes before, and you go through these and say, right, and enable waiting room, all right, and hide profile pictures, so only the name comes up and so on. Okay, allow participants to do the following things. You can decide, you know, share a screen, chat, rename themselves, unmute themselves, start a video. Okay, so those are permissions that you as the host can give, and whatever you tick the last meeting will default to that one. Again, you don't have to do it every time. And then at the bottom here, suspend participants' activities. This is where somebody who perhaps has jumped into your room that shouldn't and has become boisterous or rude, or you can stop that person from participating in the meeting. Okay. Right. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Okay, then we're getting to that point where I can still take some questions, and you can see that Sharon has shared a link in the chat page where if you want to get into the more advanced tomorrow, the tips and tricks, then I suggest you click on that now before we close the meeting, and I will in fact, maybe I should actually copy it and put it on what I'm going to send to you at the end. Okay. I'm going to send you an email and immediately after this meeting. So you will only get an email if you have registered for this class and come through the registration process. Okay. You will not get an email if you've come live. Once the class was launched, you know, you can go and click on launch and you come into the class. You won't get an email under those circumstances, and certainly if you're watching the streaming, you won't get an email either. So you'll only get an email if you're registered and you're here. Right, are there any final questions?
Good job.
Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. If there are no more questions, then until next time, I say goodbye and enjoy your evening. Okay.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
That will be great if I see you tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michael.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye,
you.
everybody.
Evening, everyone. Bye bye.
Good night.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Bye.